G'day guys, it's Swallow again. I'm just heading up this second video for Bitcoin for Beginners, and I'm just going to sort of build a block. Um, there's going to be plenty of parts that I missed, but I just want to go and get some of the basics out of the way so someone actually knows roughly what's happening. It's obviously going to be simplified. There's plenty of other variables which are going into it. But I'm just going to do the simple sort of stuff so that someone can get a bit of an idea of what's actually happening. So inside everyone's node, they will have a mempool. Now the mempool is obviously short for memory pool, and it has all of the actual transactions which have been broadcast, right? And those transactions are passed from node to node, just like sharing like a couple of receipts to each other. So everyone has a bit of copy, and they validate those transactions, and then they store it in their own mempools, just waiting for for things to press on. Now when it comes time to build a block, they will start off with a block template, and it basically looks like what I've produced here. There's obviously more details to it, but I'm not going to bother because I'm just trying to get the details over. So imagine this as being the previous block over here. So I'll just write previous. Okay, so that's the previous block, right? Now the actual hash from this block is pulled forward. So I don't know if I got some space here. So the block hash is pulled forward into this transaction, and it is put into the block header. Now, in this block header, we've got the previous block hash here. So that's the data which tells you what this block was. We've got things like time, version, block height, sizes, transaction amount, and stuff like that. So I might just go and put in some random numbers just for fun. So we'll say, let's say what the previous block hash is. It's we'll go like 0x blah blah blah, and we'll go time. We'll say, let's say August. So we'll go 08 2020. We've got the version number. We'll say it's like 0.001, a whole bunch of numbers, and we'll say, let's say the block height is 750,000. All right. Now let's say we have the transactions obviously will come through once the part is processed. So I already know what I'm going to do here, so I'm just going to write down 8 transactions here, because obviously a block will have like 1,500, 2,000, whatever like that. But that's just too damn hard to draw. So what I'm going to do is I am going to copy a 8 transaction block which I prepared earlier from the mempool. And I'll just do that one again. So copy this, and we'll drag it. Actually, sorry. What I will do is I'll copy it and paste. Probably should do Control C, Control V to make it nice and easy, but I'm just doing it this way. So those 8 transactions are still sort of sitting down there at the moment, but we've got all of our transactions here. Now, what will happen is those transactions will be hashed. So we'll go make a hash. We'll go space. There you go. Chuck a couple of hashes in there. Obviously, it's crude as hell, but I'm working in Paint, so good fun. Hash. Okay. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to connect this one here and this one together, this one here and this one together, this one here and this one together, and this one here and this one together. Now, keeping in mind that that when the ASIC miners are trying to process all these transactions, that the node that is connected to the miners is already validated this block already. So that's where we're at. So this one, this block over here is valid, and it's been verified, and this one's obviously here. So what do we got here? We've got a couple of more hashes. Got a hash, got a hash, and we got a hash. So that's produced, and then we will stick these two together over here. We'll join those together. This is the Merkle tree. So what they are basically doing is the hash transaction first to make it into a long string of strange numbers that's illegible to read, and then they join it together into one extra hash. And so this one here, so they've put these two hashes together and they've produced this hash. Done. And then they will put this together and they will put it into the Merkle root right here. And so this is going to be the hash. What I'll do is I'll put it over here, because essentially, like the Merkle roots, it's going to be a whole jumbling bunch of letters like this, right? So it's going to be, impossible for humans to read. And get rid of those. So it's going to be impossible for humans to read, but the Merkle root is basically a whole bunch of writing. Now, all this data here, that's all going to be crunched together. So I might just change the color, and I'll just, we obviously want to put all this together, and we want to hash that, but we want to hash that with everything else. So now this nonce is what these ASIC miners are doing. So this is the as you can see here, this is the miners right here. So that's all the miners. This is just a simple diagram of the miners. So what the miners will do here is they will receive this block, and they will change the nonce as it comes. So let's just put in a nonce of 1, right? Just a random number. So what they will do is they will hash together the Merkle root with all this detail from the header with the nonce, and they may get a value. Let's say if I'm just to make it really simple, we'll just go. It goes it comes up with a number, 4 zeros and a 1398. Let's say, for instance, right? Now, let's say our target to be able to win the block needs to be below 1,000. So we need everything to be like 5 zeros, 999 or better to be able to win it. And so we've put in a nonce, and it's come to 1398. And so that's nonce number 1. We'll just go N1 and we'll do equals, and it's come out at a value of 0001398. All right, so that's a fail. The person who did that did not win. Let's chuck in a nonce of say 2, and what do we get? And keep in mind that these the way the hashing algorithm comes out, it does not, having numbering up those numbers from 1, 2, and 3 does not get you closer to the target, because it's all very, very random and it makes an absolute mess of itself. So that nonce, let's say that goes to 2 zeros, and it goes 1 2 9876, right? So that's a fail right there. And then we go to nonce, big capital nonce number 3. And let's say that one has done an excellent job, and it's made it to 567. So that has reached under the target objective. So it's made it to 5 zeros, and the figure is 587, which basically means that it's made it below the 1,000 target. So I'll just write over here just that the target was 1,000. So target is 1,000. All right, so it becomes, because it becomes, so the more zeros is the harder it gets, because when all these hashes are put together, they produce largest numbers. So most of the time, you hash all those things together, and you will get, as I said, a very large number. You know, you get 1,000,000, you get 5 billion or something like that, and you want to bring the number down. So that's how the difficulty is so challenging, because you want to go and get a number which, you know, when multiplied everything together, it brings the number below the target, and that makes it hard. So nonce number 3 is a winner, right? So let's get the eraser out, and we'll get rid of this one. And what our nonce resulted was a 3. And so that is a winner. And let's say this guy, let's say this miner was the winner. But it's part of a mining pool anyway, so even if it gets 6.25 Bitcoin, maybe these are all part of a mining pool, and so they all get 0.5 each. So everyone's kind of a little bit happy. They haven't got the full reward, but everyone's got a little bit of thing because they're in a pool. So that was the miner that won it, and then it can progress. So what? So this gets broadcast out to all of the nodes, and so how do I draw this? So this gets broadcast to all the nodes, right? So we'll just chuck a couple of circles in over here. So that goes out to the nodes, and and this passes on to some other nodes. And I'm making an absolute meal of my beautiful drawing, but hey. So that passes out to the nodes, and then some other miner is they receive this block. So let's copy this messy block over now. So we'll go copy, paste, we'll slap that over there, and what we'll do is we'll just delete all this crap, delete all that crap, and so we've got a nice neat block template all over again. All right, and of course, as the video started before, this, there we go, red. The block header from this goes into that block, and then it all starts all over again. So this is the next block, and it's getting processed by all these guys. So the miners are all now working on this one, and they are now satisfied. I'll just delete that. They're all satisfied that everything is progressing. So now keep in mind that when these nodes are happy, when they are happy with what's going on, what they will do is they will validate it as they pass it along. So when the block comes to this node, this gives it a tick. So we'll give it this bit of a pen. Oh, I'm gonna get a brush, better. They give it a tick, and then they pass it on to these guys, and these guys give it a tick, and these guys give it a tick. So that's the importance of nodes here. Now these nodes will look over. They will look over at these transactions, and they will say, "Well, there we go. We don't need to process this anymore. So we are going to scratch these transactions over here, and they are effectively gone, temporarily gone, because those transactions are right over here. We accept that they have been processed, and it's all done and dusted. So when these guys bring in this, they will copy this set in here, and I should have been like Control V, but Control B by now. And so they will start processing these guys, and obviously they will start the whole thing again. So we'll stuck some hashes in there, and etc. etc. So that's how basically what's going on there. So that's how everything is passed on. Now I know that Mr. Squiggles was asking me about SegWit just the other day. And in SegWit, basically these transactions that are down over here, they will have what we call, we'll have where the address is coming from, and like what UTXO it gets dug out of. They will have the new address of where it's going. They will have the signature of the person who signs that transaction, and they'll have the actual Satoshi amount. So it'll note how many Satoshi got moved from X address to Y address, and and it'll push that forward. Now, in the SegWit address, what it will do is we'll have the address where the UTXO is coming from, and it'll have the new address where it's getting sent to. It'll have the Satoshi amount, but what it does is it will put the SegWit transaction. Let's see if I can bump up the size here. What it'll do is it'll put the signature that is inside here up into the block header, or sort of a detail area. So it takes the signature apparently is fairly hefty in comparison to all the other data from like the to's and froms and the Satoshi value. But essentially the signature gets transferred up into the block header, and so that gives the space inside the actual Merkle tree a much smaller size. So all those signatures from those SegWit transactions are shifted up in the block header, and that gives more space to the actual block. It still complies with the rules according to all Bitcoin Core nodes prior, and it just progresses. So that's basically what this that's basically how you build a block. All right. Thanks for listening. Hopefully it's all clear as mud. If there's any questions, stick them in the reply, and it might spawn me to do a whole another video. Thanks.